Okay, so starting with a pullover here. So what we're really looking for in this exercise is to keep the ribs down, which learning how to move through your upper body, so your shoulders and your upper back, is part of what you need to do in order to heal any diastasis. So that's the goal, is to keep the ribs down and resist movement. You only go as low as you can to keep your ribs down and your low back in a neutral position. If you need to regress it, bending the knees is going to help with that. So just bend the knees or put a bolster, so an elevation underneath your head and your upper back so that you're able to keep the ribs down. For your bird dog, you are learning how to pelvic tilt in the quadruped position, so that tabletop position, and then resist any movement. So you're looking to keep your hips fully squared, you're not twisting through your hips, you're not dropping the low back, and you are going to inhale, fill your belly, and exhale and do the movement. So a little bit more challenging than you think. If you need to regress this, you can either just work on the pelvic tilt, so dropping the belly, pulling it up with control and using your breath, or you can just slide out the leg or the arm would take this down a notch too. So work with kind of what feels best. For your high row, you do want to sit up nice and tall, but again, we're looking at not flaring the ribs and actually keep and moving through the upper back. So your elbows should be slightly below your shoulders. You don't want them cocked up too high because you don't want them internally rotated. And notice that the back muscles should move when you pull. Hamstring bridges, these can be a tricky one, but again, moving with your breath, you're going to keep the legs almost straight with a slight bend there and the toes pointing up. You're going to take a big inhale and exhale, pull the pelvic floor up, squeeze your glutes, raise your hips up in the air, and then inhale to come down. So trying to work with your breathing and with your pelvic floor as you kind of see fit is what's going to make or break this exercise. You should feel it in the back of your legs. The bicep curl. So depending on where you kneel on the band is going to make this easier or harder. But again, you're working on bracing, but using your internal muscles to do that. So I'm pushing all the air down when I inhale, and then as I exhale and curl up, I'm actually engaging my pelvic floor for this exercise too, because that's what I need to do to learn to activate it. For the pelvic marches, these can be really, really tricky. You do need that dead bug position. So you're coming into a bit of a pelvic tilt. So your low back is pressed against the floor and your rib cage is tucked down. So creating that pressure in between your ribs and your hips. And then you are trying to raise each leg. If it doesn't work with a double leg, keep one leg on the ground and just do single legs.